Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. Welcome, everybody. It's been a little while since we've done a show for Shroud, and here we are. So, there's been a few changes. I wonder what I'll run into. I have been, playing with another game recently, but I come back into Shroud and I think, wow, the amount of detail in the characters and so much other stuff is so highly polished and everything, that there is just so many tons of reasons to really enjoy the game. So we will have a guest today. We're going to have Atos joining us, one of the devs, and I'm sure he will pop in at some point. Not 100% sure when he'll be here, but he will. So anyway, I'm in one of the towns now. I scaled back my operations a little bit because I wasn't playing as much, and taxes and all. I still have our house up here for sales and everything up in our little sales town here, Crossroads Alley, and I am. I do happen to have a couple things that I need too. Here's our vendor, our little place, decorated with all the paintings I've collected. I have no clue if any of them are valuable or not. And of course, I have this great chair here where I can sit out here and direct our vendor, sell that now. We need the money. Stuff like that. Not that it matters. As far as performance, so I see the question about have they nailed down performance? You know what? I can't remember the command to see my FPS, but I can tell you that it's been feeling pretty good today. So, I can tell that there have been performance improvements, but I don't know, what the status of everything is right now or whatnot. So, yeah, it has been better for quite some time. Oh, debug. That's right. Really? Yeah, there we go. All right. So, I've got 29, 30 FPS. So, yeah, and in a town where there's so much stuff, that's not bad. So, hello, Belladonna. Yeah, started the show just a little bit early. So, figured we'd get going. All right. So, turn that bar off. It's feeling pretty good though. It's feeling pretty good. I don't have any complaints. So, now I do need some stuff with my for my character. I either need to commission somebody to fix a ring for me, or I need to buy another one. So I do have here this ring of Taline, which is plus 10 fire attunement because I am like a fire mage, and it is durability 2. So need somebody to do some repairs. So, all right, Shroud of the Avatar. Chris says patching up computer in the streaming room, and then he'll be joining in. All right, so yeah, so if you have questions for dev type questions or whatnot, start thinking of those, and we'll get a chance when talking to Atos here to figure out some answers. Yeah. Oh, and Shroud of the Avatar, you notice a little purple diamond next to them. VIP in chat. Yeah. So I started doing for game devs. So, let's see. There's Kodos Exchange. What is the current price of Kodos? You know, I've got a bunch of Kodos. And... whoa, 9,200 each? Wait, wasn't the target like 3,000? Are they really that high? How much are they buying? 89,000 for 10. Wow. I don't know. I have maybe 50 or 100 Kodos. I took down the guild property because I could not. I just wasn't keeping it up. Even though I have, which by the way, we can have a little fun using it today. I have a royal scepter, and that royal scepter allows me to take half the taxes off of a property for a month, and basically, I can apply it to any property, and you know. So since I don't have my guild property up right now that was costing so much, you know, do any of you who are, you know, have like a town or higher need a tax break? Maybe I'll come by and give you a tax break. So, yeah. All right. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I'm not sure I want to use it on a small place. But you'll call me in 2 months, huh? Yeah. Haven't played in over a year. Have they added any quests? So the quests are really deep in the game. I don't care for questing, and that's not just in Shroud here. That's all games. I am not a fan of questing, so I've done some in here to get some stuff done, and it is one of the things that people commonly comment on as being really awesome in the game is all of the quests and adventures. So, you know,
to the dragons.
Yeah. Let's see here. Boy, this place looks nice. Okay, let's see here. Deco stuff. Mage store. So would I find in the mage store, would I find any rings? This doesn't look like magery stuff. Oh, I guess it's all cloth and everything. All right. It's kind of, oh, yeah. Wow, he's got a lot. Whoa, plus 17 on some of these wands. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, there we go. Found some rings. And let's see here. Plus fire attunement. It was crafted, so it's all player done. Having it on. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. So, yeah, and there is, we know that there's been more players coming in since they changed to a little bit more of a free-to-play model. But if you want the next episode or whatnot, it is on sale right now. You can get it in our store, !SOTA, SOTA, and get that pre-ordered. I don't know what, I haven't looked to see what the difference is between episode 2 and free-to-play stuff. Like, if they're just going to add it later for the free-to-play people, or if it gives something else. I'm not really sure, but it is in there. So T-Branch, you didn't miss much. So except we do have Atos that'll be joining us today on the show for a bit, and I'm looking for somebody to repair a ring for me. So I need some ring repair. So let's see here. 41 months as a sub, Sean. That is 1,230 gold to everybody here in your honor. So thank you very much for that long-term support. There's also another thing. We do have a giveaway. This mask right here, you can only get these winning one on the show. If you see anyone with this mask right here, then they got it here on the show. It's the only way to get it, or they bought it from somebody who won one on the show. And we do have one that we're giving away today, exclamation point giveaway in chat, and that gets you a link to our giveaway section where you can get in here and add this to your cart. You do have to have an account, which you got to be logged in. Go to the giveaway section, add this to your cart right here, put in your game name, YouTube name, Twitch name, whatever name you want me to read off when you win, and then add that to your cart, check out for free. And so you can get in on that. We'll draw near the end of the show, and if you have to take off before then, no sweat. If you win and you're not here, you will find an email from us. I don't remember. What is it that we send? Oh God. Yeah. So, all right, let me bring on Atos here. Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
Hey. So, how's it going?
All right. Going great. Hold on, I'm trying to mute stuff here so I don't have the radio effect of you talking in the background while I talk to you.
Right. Yes, it's there.
All right.
Turn off my music.
Hold on. There we go. Now I'm set up.
All right. Great. So, Atos, will you introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are or what you have to do with the game?
For those who don't know me, I'm Chris Spears. My official title on the project is, I think, Technical Director, but we have such a team full of polyglots. Everybody kind of does everything. So I do, in addition to doing the tech directing, I also do a ton of other things, including a lot of the system design. I don't touch any of the story stuff or quest stuff. I dabble in a little bit of the crafting stuff, but I'm not the primary guy who does the crafting stuff. But I do control like the economy and all combat, and creature balance, and cool things that go into the game. So,
So, yeah, many hats, man of many hats.
And my background in computer games is I started on a TRS 80 more than 40 years ago, and worked my way up to Apple II, where I played Ultima 1 through I think 5 on the Apple II. And then I started teaching programming in high school because they didn't have any teachers for programming in high school. So they had me, a student, teach the typing teacher how to program. I ended up teaching class. And then I went on to college, and then I ended up teaching graduate programming stuff in college. And then my brother called me saying, hey, you want to come work for a computer game company? And I went and joined him in the industry about 26 years ago as a professional games guy, and been doing games ever since.
It's awesome. Yeah, you go way back. So, yeah, maybe you got even an earlier start than me.
Yeah, that's I ran parallel to a lot of the Origin crowd. When I was in Austin, there were a couple of big game companies. I was at one of the other ones. So I never actually worked at Origin, but started working with Richard. I'd been the tech director at the Austin Acclaim studio, Iguana, and that went poof one day. New York surprise declared Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and the
Mm.
office was locked when we came in, and it was a huge news story. But went over and interviewed with NCSoft with Richard, and because we just had a 300-person company shut down, there were 18 people interviewing for one spot.
I know that kind
And,
of that's scary.
and then I ended up getting the job, and it sounded, talking to Richard, part of it was when I was younger, I did a smart toy that was like this pirate ship that had an antenna in the deck and it had some little characters with pucks in them. And so it's called Redbeard's Pirate Quest. Apparently, Richard was a fan of that, and that was one of the deciding factors.
Well, Richard's a big fan of toys.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if people don't know, Richard is a kid in a man's body.
Yeah, all sorts of toys, too. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mechanical robot, like the crank, and it does something crazy. And mechanical, I forget what they're called, automatons or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, I remember seeing him on MTV Cribs or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And all those toys and everything. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about the game.
All right, what do you want to know?
Well, the first thing. Okay, so I have been I've taken a break for a couple of months, and Shroud is really good about that because there's no monthly fee, and so you're not paying monthly, and so I just hop right back in, and I don't feel like I've missed. Do you ever play any subscription games, and then if you don't play for a month, do you feel like, damn, I just wasted my $10?
Oh, yeah. Or
Yeah, I don't.
WoW world where it's the progression. If you fall behind the progression or the keys or whatever, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I really like that that you can step away for a little bit and come back and not feel guilty about not being here. But one of the things that I noticed is that Kodos are so high in price, and I had no clue. So wasn't it that a Kodo is doesn't it equal, like, what is it, 3,000, 3,500 towards taxes or something
So
like
if
that?
you use it to pay your taxes, it was set to 3,500, and that was kind of what I had set as the expected floor for it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a number that we said we would adjust and try to make it like whatever the lowest valued players are selling them for, we would make that how much they apply towards rent. So right now, actually, they'll do 6,000 towards rent.
Oh,
But this
okay.
is all due to we're in the process. I'm not sure how it lasted this long, but we've had this ridiculous cash shop that everybody hates that has been our primary point of sale rather than moving to the model that 20 out of 20 of the top MMOs use, which is no big cash shop, and then you have a in-game store, that's just
Mm-hmm.
premium currency. Get away from all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So for whatever reason, we've been slow in making that move, and so finally we were pulling the Band-Aid off and pushing everything we can into game for crowns. And as many players probably know, I'm not sure how many of your listeners understand the economy in Shroud, but we're different in that our premium currency is tradable,
Mm-hmm.
which means that players can buy, sell, gold, trade those two things around, which means you never have to spend a dime. A lot of players have bragged to me about how much stuff they've gotten just because they buy crowns for gold.
Right.
Which, it's honestly been our model that has worked pretty well for us, and I think it'll work even better now as we move everything into game for crowns.
So has this been announced yet, or is this like the first announcement of this?
No, it's been announced a little bit. I've got some announcements that we haven't made that I can share with you today.
Oh,
But
okay.
we announced that. That's just, we haven't made a big deal about it. But
Right.
at the end of February, the cash shop is going to go away. And the
Okay.
cash shop will basically be, here's where you buy your crowns if you want to buy crowns. There'll be one or two things on there, and we'll keep, we have a package right now that's kind of the equivalent to like our early day Lord of the Manors, that's Lord of the Isles, that are really, people look at them, and of course, Reddit guys love to bash on them, and occasionally MMORPG people love to bash on them, but it's really for the angel investors, and we're going to try to give it a more appropriate name, because it's not intended to be really, if you're buying a $5,000 or $6,000 package, it's not because there's something there that you want. It's because you have extra money and you want to help out the game. And
Oh
we want to
yeah,
give you guys an
yeah.
opportunity.
We actually we have some people, you know, because we're an official reseller for Shroud of the Avatar here, and we do the trusted trader market. But we have sometimes people who come in and they'll be like, "Well, I'm going to buy this for a couple grand or whatever," and you know, so we're working with them and whatnot. And sometimes we find out that they're like spending rent money on this,
Yeah.
and that's when we go, "Hold up! Don't do that.
Yes.
Spend entertainment funds, not the rent money." And there are a lot of I mean, there are big people. There are people who have a lot of disposable income,
Yeah.
and so they're the people who like those really big packages.
Yeah.
So
I think we've sold 4 of those so far, and 3 out of the 4 wrote us and said, "I'm buying these packages because I want to support the game."
mm-hmm.
And again, that's a lot of the people who play the game, like grew up on Ultima. And if you
Right.
think about it, those guys who grew up on Ultima were probably computer guys back in the early days. And I've looked into a number of our big spenders in game, and they're
Mm-hmm.
guys who are, around my age, 45 to 55, who are now CEOs of computer companies, big companies,
Right.
CTOs of public companies who grew up on Ultima, and because they were in computers, guess what? They stayed in computers when they got older. So,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the
Mm-hmm.
guys that are coming back and like really wanting to help out. And but again, we'll probably change. We'll leave those packages up there, but we'll change the name to something more like Angel Donors or something like that, rather than trying to make it
Right.
sound like
Right.
it's like you can buy a hat for $2, or you can buy this thing for $6,099. They're totally different things and totally
Yeah.
different purpose.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, yeah, I look forward to the simplification of things as well. So that's going to be it's going to be nice. And tell me about okay. Um, so episode 2, you can like pre-buy it right now.
Yeah, and that's we're letting people pre-buy it right now. The
Mm-hmm.
planned model for it is going to be similar to what episode 1 was, where if you buy it now, there's going to be content that'll start coming online that'll be, fairly rough content most likely. But the new content side of things, you'll need episode 2 to go visit that content. So if you want an early pass of this, the new story as it's working or being worked on, I mean, that's our early access for the new content is what it works out to.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, that will become free to everybody.
Right.
And then we'll move on to episode 3 stuff, and we'll do the same thing with episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is another one of those things. Hey, you want to help us out? You want to give us some money? Then this is a good way to do it, and you'll get early access content or early access to all the content, so you can get feedback on it, which is
Mm-hmm.
really important to us.
And some of the original Kickstarter people and stuff like that, they have packages that include
Yeah.
one or more of the future episodes. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think mine does. I think I have like 5 episodes or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
not even sure.
We're trying to make this only content is the thing that's being limited. So, if there's new game features, like we announced the player created dungeons is one of those big things that players have been going nuts over, and everyone was freaked out that I got to buy episode 2 to get the dungeons. Well, we're calling them an episode 2 feature, but any feature is available in all versions. You can play it no matter what. Really,
Mhm.
episode 2 is about the new content, the new storyline, and if you want to go to an entirely new content, then you can go there. Now, of course, we'll probably entice some people to go over there by doing things like, hey, there's some drops that only occur in this the new content. So if you want some of these drops, you'll have to go there. But
Right.
I mean, we try to be pretty friendly about things and not try to force stuff down people's throats.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds good. There should be, for people who are willing to support, there should be benefit
Yeah.
to them, and but we need free players as well to be our cannon fodder.
Yes. And on the free players, that's one of those things I've had a number of existing players asking when we're going to do some more ad campaign stuff. We did some last year, middle of last year. This is actually the getting rid of the crown or the cash shop is one of the things that we're trying to do right now. And when that is done, which should be at the end of this month, we'll completely pull it down. Then we're going to actually start doing the advertising, because the cash shop is number one on complaints when we get people in. We actually have a really good attach rate once people try the game. Trial players are, more than 10% of the people who try the game end up playing the game for 50 hours or more.
That's actually a pretty good stat.
Yeah, so our attach rate is good. The problem is we get 200 people to the website, and only one or two will actually try the game. So it makes it tough to pull customers into the game, which is where guys like you can come in handy and help us out.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate to be business partners with you guys and be able to, let's say, make a living playing great games like Shroud. So.
No, we appreciate it. There's one point I wanted to make on one of the ways our economy is different from other games.
Yeah.
This is one of the decisions I made early on that everybody was a little freaked out by, internally as well as externally, like in the office as well as players. But I think everybody so far has been really happy with it, and it's worked amazingly, which is our premium currency being tradable. Now, the idea was that, there's some games out there that actually sell gold. We wanted to have some way for players to buy gold, because the reality these days is some players have more time than money, and some have more money than time. And we need to figure out a way that, we can support the game without a subscription. So the thing that we did different than other games is we have premium currency, but it's tradable. And the idea, and this is really shown to be true in the stats, is players with lots of money can buy crowns, but they sell them to other players. You can't sell them to a NPC merchant.
Right.
You can sell them to other players, which means that if you want to buy gold, you can buy gold by buying crowns and selling the crowns to other players. And then rather than inflating the economy like many games would do, it's actually just gold going from one guy's pocket to another. It doesn't inflate the economy.
Yeah.
Basically lets you work for your premium currency and buy it off the other. So the goal was, primarily it's, as we all know, like the 5% of people who are kind of whales who do a lot of the purchasing and spending. And there's a ton of players who play completely for free. They have houses, they have everything they want, they have any outfits they want, they got everything completely for free because they go and they're good at getting gold, and they go and they buy crowns with it.
Yeah.
So that makes, now that we're going to be moving everything from the cash shop into the game in the crown store, that makes that really appealing. There'll be nothing that you can't buy with crowns.
I completely agree with the assessment of a good way of not disrupting the economy, but allowing cash to come into the company as a business, and allowing people to, in effect, buy currency in the game with safety. Because there hasn't been so much in Shroud problems of people scamming each other, but you do run across it, and so that's a completely secure way to buy gold in the game through the conversion.
Yeah.
Kodos, sell them for gold, and you've got gold.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that's actually a positive stat you guys are seeing on your end.
Yeah, and again, it's having the desired effect that people can play a game and have the exact same things that premium, people want to put money into the game, but without spending any money, they just put in a little extra time.
Yeah.
The other thing that does, which is happening now, and there's a lot of people who are plotting this because we share a lot of our public data, but the crown prices, how much they go for is set by the player. So it's set by supply and demand. And if some of it is, a little bit of it is inflation, although inflation in our game has been pretty low. The primary thing driving the crown price right now, as you were saying, it's way up from what you're expecting, is because we moved everything into the game in crowns. Suddenly crowns are very valuable to people.
Right.
Driving it lately has been, we added the ability to upgrade your house, your deed. So you can go from all the way from a row lot that you get for free or a village lot that you get for free for completing the story, and upgrade that all the way up to a castle in game purely with crowns. So,
all right, more reason to buy crowns. Or
so,
collect them. You work for them or you work for them. They're both working for it.
because I track that, as you might expect, I track that information pretty tightly on terms of what people are doing with the crowns and who has them and who's buying them and who's selling them. It's really obvious that there's about 24 crown buyers, sellers out there that basically their whole business is they're playing the merchant in there, and all they're doing is playing the stock market of, buying crowns and selling crowns, making a little profit each way. So,
yeah, we have at least one of them in chat right now.
Awesome.
Yep. So yeah, I know who some of those people are. So, yeah. So I see in chat that they're talking about that everyone is waiting for the 1 to 100 crown conversion. So that must be public information now. If I'm seeing it in chat.
Yeah.
And I didn't know when you told me that if that was public or not.
You, sir, rock.
So tell us what is happening with the crown conversion. What is that?
So again, we've had a bunch of these things where it just kind of had blinders on and continuing to do what we've always done without looking at other games. But that is one that became a problem. And then looking at other games, pretty much all other games for their premium currency have, rather than having $1 to a premium currency, it's a penny to a premium currency. It's 100 to 1 is kind of the target base. So we had the problem that it was $1 to 1 crown, which was a horrible idea. For a number of reasons, for psychology reasons, but also just because it makes it really hard to get incremental pricing on things.
Right. You can't sell something for 50 cents worth.
Yeah, and also like, we're going to put things on sale. Well, okay, everything has to be at least $2 in the game because we only have increments. If we put it on sale, then it goes to rounds down to $0 or whatever. So we're going to do 100 crowns. Will replace every crown that you have in the next release at the end of this month, end of February. So you won't have to do anything. It's just if you had 10 crowns before, you'll have 1,000 when you come or when you log back in after that. But that then lets us do what we want to do, is like having things for less than $1 in our crown shop. Less than an effective $1. Crowns are already a little less than $1 because you can buy them in bulk or whatever. But so we can have things like 49 cent or 29 cent, potions for growth or shrink or whatever fun stuff you want to have in there. Doesn't always have to be $1 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have. I made that public. We haven't made a big deal about it. We probably need to start promoting that, and letting people know. The other thing it lets us do is our crown pricing, like how our bundles broke down, was really not what we wanted. And if you go and map them, there's like big jumps in percentages and which crowns, but it was all because of these rounding errors of trying to have dollars to crowns, but if we had them in smaller increments, we could actually get the percentages we wanted on things. So the crown rewards, like how many crowns you get per dollar, is going to be changing as well, in addition to the 100 split. I do have a post on that in the forums right now. I probably should go and bump it back up to the top.
All right. So, well, that'll be good. So, what else is coming up here that you're excited about?
The thing that continues to be a big excitement for many people has been as we work towards episode 2. That's one of the things we've been pushing for. Is my belief is that the biggest thing we failed on in episode 1 was making more player or content that players can contribute to directly. So that's one of the things we're pushing for episode 2. Is about 3 releases ago, we started pushing out some player-made dungeon stuff, which really is kind of an extension of our basement system, where you can have your own dungeon underneath your house Except in this case, you get to build it out. You get to craft the pieces. You get to go and find the pieces that have dropped. If you go to a dungeon, that's going to be one of the unique drops that most dungeons will have. Right now, only about a half dozen of them have them, but there'll be drops of blueprints. So if you go to a room and it's a cool room and there's a boss creature in there and you kill the boss may drop the blueprint that you need to craft that dungeon room, which you can place in your own dungeon. Next release, we hope to have the first version. So right now, you can already build your dungeon, and players are having a blast with that. Just in terms of where players are spending their time, that is a huge chunk of it. That's the other thing you probably, if you paid attention to the market closely, you'd see that granite prices have gone through the roof.
Oh, good. Oh, shoot. I have a ton of it.
Yeah, that's
time to get that up for sale?
It was like 35 or so last time I looked, but it's all because of the dungeon. People use it to craft dungeons, and that's the primary thing in dungeons. So, so granite's gone through the roof. But the next big thing coming up with that is next release, there's going to be encounters in them, which is some of these rooms that will drop in other scenes will drop encounter rooms. And those are rooms that will actually have creatures that spawn in them that give experience and also give loot. Now, if you're wondering how that works without being super exploitable, it works similar to how the control points work, where the creatures are about 2 tiers tougher in difficulty than what their loot and experience shows. So, if you're fighting like a tier 8 thing, it may give the loot of tier 8, it may give the gold rewards of a tier 8, but it'll fight like a tier 10. So it's a little bit tougher. So that's kind of we assume you could always find content out in the world to find. It's not
work harder for that money.
So you work hard for the money, but again, players get to do it. So then the other part that is cool about that is, again, it's another group effort for how to build those. At least the big ones are now, and going forward with the encounters, they will be as well, because you'll be able to level up the encounter rooms in them. So when they start off, when you place them at first, they're going to be low level, but you'll be able to craft totems to level up the encounter room, so you can control the difficulty of your dungeon.
Interesting. So that's something that I have been wondering about with the dungeons, and it's really two things. How big can I build my dungeon, and then how hard can I make it? Because I want, my goal would be that the last room at the very bottom or whatnot really unwinnable. That's what I want, So.
And that's our goal, is let players level these things up and to the moon and beyond, to get them to a point where they basically just can't be beat. But again, that's another one of those kind of rewarding grinding mechanisms that we're going to have, is how to level those rooms up. With going and if you have a lich room, you want to level up a lich room, but probably the way to do it is going to get a lich skulls, killing liches over and over and over again, to craft the totems to level up those rooms. Because that's kind of the other mechanic we want to make sure players, it's not exploitable. So if you've already gone out there and farmed all these liches out in the wild, then obviously you have access to a lot of them. So we don't have to worry as much as if you put one in your basements. It's, again, it's going to be content that'll be harder and a little less rewarding, but again, you get to control it. You can set up how things work. But as for how big they can get, we haven't set any real limits on them. If you've been to the dungeon The Rise, right now there's actually someone has made a dungeon that is larger than The Rise. Yeah. So, they're basically, the way I kind of score them on points is we break up everything into chunks. So like a 8 meter by 8 meter section is a chunk, and that costs 1 point. So there's Tazar is kind of our guy who's continually working with his guild trying to break the system and tell us where it breaks. But they've expanded their dungeon. They've placed, I think it's about 1,400 pieces. So he's got 1,400 8 meter by 8 meter sections placed down in his dungeon, with rooms and hallways and massive mazes and all sorts of crazy stuff. So,
you know what the brilliant thing is about letting players do their own dungeons is that players will do things that you devs never dreamed anybody would even try.
Absolutely.
And then, many times that'll be a fail, but sometimes they do something that everybody's like, holy cow, that was awesome. So yeah.
Because this was probably the shortest path to something cool and interactive that players could build, this is what we worked on first. But we do have on the upcoming, I think it's probably Q2, that we're going to get serious about it and start putting out something players can do. But we're going to have the NPCs where you can write their own quest dialogue tree.
Nice.
So that's, again, our goal is to make it so if you want to build your own dungeon, your own quest, and everything else, we're going to give you the tools to do it. That's really what episode 2 is all about, is empowering the players to have their own content creation tools out there.
Now, you know what I want? This is moonshot stuff. I want to be able to build my dungeon, and then I want to have cameras in my dungeon so that I can watch people going through my dungeon and allow it to the camera just switch to wherever the activity is so that I can stream it 24/7, people trying to kill my dungeon.
That's pretty doable. I'm trying to think what parts we're missing for that right now.
The only thing you'd have to do is there would have to be some sort of delay, and you'd have to force it. You'd have to force it, other than leaving it up to the streamer, because if there's opportunity to grief off of seeing something in real time, like I get stream sniped all the time.
Oh yeah.
Then that's an issue. Or you put a flag on that each player who wants to be shown in the dungeon, they can turn on a flag that says, yes, show me going through this dungeon, and everybody else is just auto-flagged for don't show me.
Yeah, I was thinking the way we would do that is, and you can avoid the stream sniping, is we can have the dungeons set to be party only. So if someone who's not your party enters the dungeon, they'll get their own instance of the dungeon. But then also, we've already got that. All we really need is the flag, so players can say, mark the dungeon as watchable, so that you can watch everything in the dungeon.
So I want to do that. I'll put up on my channel people going through my dungeon after I build something that's awesome.
Yeah, I think we can do that. That will not be that tough. I mean, we could probably have that in like R64, if not R63.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good to have.
If you get that in, you let me know. I will test it thoroughly.
Yeah, I'm already envisioning, if you've seen the pictures of the Oracle or you completed the main storyline, get to the end, a lot of those Oracle props and TVs and stuff like that, that's kind of the wizard behind the curtain, the Oz wizard behind the curtain type thing, that I totally am seeing a room like that. But if you add this room on, then it's now the GM room that you can sit in there and watch everything going on. And they'll be interactable, where basically you can zoom into other people's cameras. So
yeah, this also would encourage streamers to be basically preaching the game through their channel.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. That'd be awesome. That's both good content for the guy who's streaming it, and all the other players will love that they're kind of, it's basically, we're on TV.
Right. Yes, which that happens all the time, usually when I'm streaming, people dancing around me inappropriately and taking all their clothes off,
Yeah, we see that at the dance parties and any of our streams as well. So
yeah,
I think the internet is used to it by now.
Right. Oh, and for the tamers out there, I do have another request. We need to be able to tame the trolls, and the first troll that I can tame, I'm going to name him Internet.
Oh, nice. Hey, that is a good one, man. We're always looking for the silly rewards to give out for our stretch goals. Maybe that'll be one of our
yeah. We just need a little one of the like my imp here.
Yeah.
We need a little pet troll, and that's default name is Internet or something like that.
Yeah. Well, for Shroud players, they'd probably name the troll Reddit.
Well, Reddit is the front page of the Internet, according to them. So.
And I've got a big dungeon announcement that I haven't really told anybody.
All right, I'm listening.
Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you till 10 o'clock. I want to make sure anybody who's planning on tuning in is tuned in by then.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to go back to it.
Yeah. So it is also live on YouTube, which has DVR function. So this is all in video as well.
All right. Well, I'll mention it now, and they'll probably start talking about it. The other thing that I actually had planned all along, but had not really talked to people about for the dungeon system is they knew we were making these dungeons where they're really, if you go and look at it, they're chunks of dungeons that you can, they have rules for how they snap together and how they can be placed, and basically all the rules for how they're built, so you can build, add a room, add a hallway, and when you add the hallway, it'll take off like the wall or the door or whatever it was there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, we've got this system of dungeon chunks and encounters that spawn in them, and the rules for putting them together. The other thing that has been planned for was, now that we've got that, we can have procedural dungeons. If you think about it, that is basically the building blocks for procedural dungeons. We've already got the pieces, we've already got the rules. So this is one of the things that will allow us to do, basically, probably the first one will be, we'll be replacing our challenge dungeon equivalent. It's called Chillblains. It's kind of our challenge dungeon, but that will be replaced with a procedural style dungeon. But this is also something we're probably going to open up and add procedural dungeon entrances as a pot decoration, so people, player-owned towns, can add their own procedural dungeons and set up information on.
Interesting.
So that is, we aren't saying when that's going to come. We're trying to get dungeons nailed. Like I said, this next release, which is at the end of the month, 3 weeks from today, actually, is when we hope to get encounters live in the dungeon. They'll kind of show off that system. They'll probably just be for one room, one dropped dungeon room as a proof of concept. And then, assuming everything goes well with that, R64 will be where we start filling in most of the other rooms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, the dungeon stuff, I'm excited about it. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I do have a question from Crafty Method on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, are there any Easter eggs or secrets that you are surprised that no one has solved or discovered yet? Maybe he's looking for clues.
So I've put a number of Easter eggs and secrets in, but I got to tell you, I suck at keeping secrets. The Rise is one of the places where I snuck in a few Easter eggs, but I would just sit and watch to see if anybody was finding them, and it finally was too much for me, and I would just go and tell people the secrets of the Rise. So there are a lot of Easter eggs that other people have put in the game, but I think I've given away all of my Easter eggs over time just by, again, watching them like, I can't tell them, scan it, they're so close, just do it. Yeah, so there have been a few. But yeah, there's still, I'm a big fan of Easter eggs, so is Richard, so you'll keep seeing those added into any content or any systems I touch.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now, I know you're a stats junkie.
Yes, I am.
So, tell us about something that's like an incredible stat that you discovered that was just really cool, that was unexpected or something.
Ooh. So I'll be honest, one of the things I found, and one of the reasons why I am a stat junkie, is because I'm also, again, wear lots of hats, but I look at balance and I look for exploits and those type things. Mm-hmm. So usually when I find a stat that is a shocking stat, the first thing I do is go dig into what's actually going on. This came up, like one of the more recent things was like, wow, look, one of the top purchase things were glass vials. It's like, okay, well, potions are kind of popular. I didn't know they were that popular. Did a little bit more digging. The top crafted thing turned out to be a specific type of poison. So did a little more digging, and that was basically 1/4 of the economy for some amount of time. As players had discovered there's one particular type of poison that had a much better return. Basically, if you got this one item and then you bought these other 2 items, you can make way better. The gold output on it was much better than it should have been. So usually when I see these stats that stun me, it is because there's some exploit, bug, imbalance in the game that I immediately have to go and fix. So I'm kind of the ruiner of those type things.
You're ruiner of the awesome stats.
Yeah, that's pretty much people think I should be. I should have a Nerf hammer that I carry around in game all times. I forget if I have a Nerf hammer out right now. If I have a Nerf hammer right now, I do have a hammer. It's not really a Nerf hammer, but yeah. So usually my awesome stats are awesome bugs. What's going on, and I have to go and remove the thing that's causing the awesome stats. As for shocking things. Oh, again, anytime I see shocking data, it always ends up being that there's something wrong with the game that I got to fix. So I'm usually not as excited to see those type of amazing pieces of data.
Right.
Like there's one of the starter scenes that for a long time
rock.
Player suicides were crazy high. And finally, we've got a tool that had broken a while back that we fixed up, that it was a heat map generator. So you can go and map in the scene in our editor and see where events happen. But it was players committing suicide. And in one of the outskirts scenes, that there was this log that had a little rough spot in the middle. And you basically have to walk across the log unless you want to run way around. But basically it was 20 players plus a day were trying to make this one jump on this one log, and the fall was just enough to kill a newbie. And so in the period of like a 2-week period, there were 300 deaths in this one spot, all newbies, which when I saw that was one of those things I laugh about a little bit, but also I cry a little because I know it's like, there were 300 newbie deaths there.
Right.
Probably 100 of them quit the game right then because they died on a stupid log.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's good that you're keeping those stats, though, that you have that, because back in the day, I know you didn't work on the original UO or whatever, but from what I know about how UO was done, is that there was a lot of huge blind spots in it. And really it was created something brand new, so nobody knew that there was even the blind spots even existed until they went looking. But so it's just good that you have all those metrics and stats and everything these days.
Yeah, and there's great tools. If they had the tools that were available, now back then, I'm sure they would have been doing the same things. I know a lot of those guys. Chris Meyer is one of the original UO guys that is a good friend. He's now dev director, I think, on I-76 or Fallout 76. But yeah, the tools we have now is basically we use the industry kind of standard free tools, which are Elasticsearch, Kibana, Logstash. That we basically just format messages, dump them into this thing, and it'll eat up 50 million messages, a day, and then we can put that data together in various different ways and find stuff. We've got tons of charts on, like, here's the economy, here's what people are gaining, here's what scenes people are gaining in, and anytime I see something that's anomalous in those, I immediately try to jump on it and figure out what's going on.
I'm letting there be light. Oh, we have a couple of viewers. A couple bystanders. So. All right. Do you play just for fun?
I try to play just for fun. I'm also of the type where I try to force myself to play and not debug everything. But usually when I play, I'll play until I see a bug, and then it's like, oh, I got to go fix this, or a map looks something really ugly, and I got to go fix it. So I have trouble having long play sessions, but I do try to occasionally. The thing I do more often to get a real player experience is I'll go to a scene that I'm interested in, and I'll just find a group there that has a spot and go and join them for a while. And of course, I usually get them killed, but then always cheat and resurrect them, and then give them all buffs when I leave. I do that about maybe twice a week. I'll just have time in the evening after I put my 4-year-old to bed, go down a little bit. Usually not on Atos. Sometimes I'll do it on Atos, but other times I've got a couple of different tweaks because I like to try out different play styles. And the other thing is it's not just different play styles, it's totally different levels, and it's tougher to switch that part around. Obviously, I can switch play styles just by changing the what I have equipped with my deck stuff.
Are you seeing the screen here? We have a fish watching us.
The fish. So that's a known bug that will be fixed soon. That if you stealth and you have a fish head mask on, he used the wrong shader on the fish head mask, so it does not properly vanish. So. Yep, I can see that quite a bit. We should have a patch to fix that here shortly. There's going to be at least a couple more patches for those who are already players of the game and want to know what's coming up. One of the ones that's coming up now that I'll go ahead and admit is a bit of pay to win. And I'm keeping as minimal pay to win as possible. We added the crown store, which of course we're trying to get everybody to switch to doing crowns, quit using the cash shop, just because it's coming up in the end of the month and only a fraction of people have even opened the crown store. Do you know where the crown store is in game?
Well, it's probably this crown shop button upper right.
Yes. Okay. So you at least know where it is. That's.
Well, I just now looked.
Oh, okay.
That's all. I don't know that I've ever opened this up before.
Yeah, so this is brand new. This release, it was up there before, but it was very limited. It only had like a dozen items. There were a lot of tech limitations, performance limitations for it, that it wasn't properly doing things. Basically, before any item that you added to this interface, like the entire object data would load, including like the model and the textures and audio associated with it, the VFX and everything, which made it, when you had like 1,000 items to the store, hey, guess what? Try to open up the crown shop with 1,000 items and basically crashed your computer. So this was separating out all that logic. So now we can actually have things organized and filtered, and we have tools to cleanly add things and tools to put things on sale. There'll be some more coming up in the release at the end of the month, so that we can do things like have limited time sales, and we'll have countdown timers on them. Yeah, this is where everything is going to be going. But the pay-to-win thing that's coming probably in the next patch, I still need to do a little bit more testing on it, will be that we're trying to get people to come over this. And so any purchase you make will give you a one-day-long store blessing, which is just, it'll pick a random, there's like a list of 23 different buffs that it'll give you. So any purchase you make, whether it's 1 crown or 500 crowns, will give you one of these blessings. So,
right,
and that is my bribe that I've already told people this is going in, and I only plan on keeping it in for probably this release, maybe next release, and the release after that. And then we're going to pull it. But again, if you want people to go to things, give them extra rewards, and any type of in-game buff, as we've always seen, is like players will kill for it. So.
Yeah, and so, but it's not like if I go in and buy 2 items, do I get 2 buffs?
So it's got a 3-stack limit, so it'll let you have up to 3 of those at a time. So my advice to people is, and they last a day, is the obsidian potions are all still pretty popular, and they're 1 crown right now. Next release, they might actually be less than a crown, because we'll have the ability to have things that cost less than a crown. But most people are buying 1 or 2 of those. That's kind of what I consider our subscription, is those potions. If you keep 2 of those potions up at any given time, then that's basically like an $8 subscription equivalent. Yeah, if you buy one of those, you're just going to get an extra buff that'll last a day. They're pretty mild buffs. They're weaker than stuff you would get in game. But again, as we've seen, players will, kill their grandma to get an extra 2 points of strength. That's kind of what we've found. So. If
you get a buff that's bad for your character, can you dismiss it? Yeah,
they're all set to be dismissible, and it'll do up to 3, and it'll overwrite the oldest one if you do another one. So if you get something you don't like, for whatever reason, you can always go and dismiss it. But they're mostly like 5 points of stat, or like 10 points of resistance of 1 school of magic type stuff. They're pretty mild compared to in-game stuff, but again, if there's a buff there, people will go and try it, and that's really what we want, is just people go and open the Crown Shop and try out the interface, because that's the other thing is if you went and bought stuff in the store before, you had to like buy it, and then there was always a big delay, and then it would show up in game, and then you had to go to your rewards thing to collect it, and people had trouble with the rewards.
And then some of it you had to apply after that.
Yeah, and then there's always admitted steps. This one you can actually open up your inventory, click on something to buy it, and it will show up like basically when you let up the button. It's instantaneous and it's in your inventory.
Nice.
Which again, stuff, and for those who don't know the game, the stuff in the store, I mean, you're kind of seeing what stuff is in the store. We're normally very big on no pay to win or absolute minimal pay to win. The obsidian potions are probably the only thing that are really things. There's like you can buy weapons in there, and you can buy patterns and stuff, but those just change the appearance of stuff. So if you want to have a different or cooler looking set of armor, you can have a cooler set of looking armor, but it's really just going to have the stats of whatever you applied it to.
Mm-hmm.
The housing is one of those where, again, like you don't really get any power from housing. I think the only real benefit you can get from having housing is you got more room to store your stuff, and generally it costs, you have to pay upkeep on it, so you're kind of paying for it anyways.
Right.
I think the other big thing with housing that I've heard people say is pay to win type stuff is you can have your crafting and your other stuff there, so it makes you a better crafter because you can basically have your own crafting area where you don't have to walk anywhere, and you don't have to walk to the bank and back to pick up 10,000 items.
Right.
So it does help with that a little bit, but in general it's it's all for fun and deco and cool dress up and emotes and dyes and music stuff that does not give power. That's always been, we feel, as a game with microtransactions. We did not do any of the, hey, let's apply these fake annoyances to the game and then make you pay to remove them. We try to not have any of that type stuff either.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun.
Yeah, and that's basically the whole model of Facebook games and many microtransactions.
You, sir, rock.
Make a game that's fun and then remove the fun and make them pay to get the fun. It's kind of the short version.
Mm-hmm.
And people had said that we were doing that with housing, and that's an important thing. But that's another reason why we've added all the housings in the Crown Shops. Plus, you get a row lot just basically when you get to the very first or the second scene in the game, you'll get a row lot if you're doing the quest line. And then if you complete the entire quest line, you'll get a village lot, which is kind of where housing gets really good and fun.
Yeah, unless you don't like quests.
Unless you don't like quests.
I'm a quest hater.
That's all right. That's we know there's a lot of Ultima Online people out there who quest. Why would I want quest?
Yeah. Well, that's just it's just me. But there's plenty of other content here, so I don't need them. Yeah.
And that was probably one of the things we kind of knew it coming into this project, but that is one of the things I was surprised by how dramatic the two different audiences were. It's the Ultima and the Ultima Online audiences, where really there's the Ultima audience that all they care about is, the story and the quest and the dialogue, and hardly anything else. And then there's the Ultima Online guys who could not care less about the story and the, dialogue and all that type of stuff. So they're really in there for the other players. So we knew that going into it. It's just been surprising how dramatic the difference is between those two different audiences.
Yeah. Now, the Crown Store, I notice that it's telling me I don't have any crowns. But I do have crowns in my bank. Do I have to have them on my person?
Yeah, I think it makes you keep them on your person. That's probably something we should change. In fact, I'll make a note of that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's one of those things that hit me too, because one of the things we just recently added was players can upgrade their player-owned towns in-game for crowns, and the way I had them do that just because we didn't want to have an interface, because there's only a couple hundred people who could be possibly ever doing that. And it seemed like it'd be a lot of work and maintenance work for adding a whole interface just for that. So the way I have them do is just send me an email with the crowns attached, and we'll get your pot updated as soon as possible. Well, I've got a ton of crowns on me. Then I took them just, I was at the bank in the mailbox. So I just put them in the bank, and I went to the crown store, and the same thing hit me. So.
Yeah. Yep. The easier it is to spend them, the more will be spent.
Yep, that's one of those things we've done. We pretty much for the last 3 years we've been trying to smack down all the different bad decisions we made early on of making it really hard to give us money. For instance, we had crown vendors in the game, which was the absolute most immersive. It's like there's just a merchant. He takes crowns and gives you stuff, and no one can find them. It's like, how much more inconvenient could we make it for you to give us money? So that's one of those things we're trying to get around, is because the number of people who were using it was crazy small. And to switch it over to be our, get away from the web store, which is its own evil, we decided it was better to go with the in-game crown store, which is a little evil, but not as evil as like the web store with cash shop and stuff like that. So
right.
We're getting there.
I think my client just crashed.
No.
Yeah.
So I can go on a rant about that. I've been pretty vocal about. You're here on my screen. I'm laughing at you. So most people know we use Unity for our engine, which is, it has some good things about it and some bad things.
Some limitations, yes. I've been all of the complaints that I've given you all have to do with Unity.
Yes. And the biggest complaint is, so the reason we have people also all the time asking us, why are you using Unity when Unreal is so much better? Well, it's not as much better as some people suggest. And it's also one of those things, by the time you get to the end of any large project, you're going to hate whatever engine you're using. It doesn't matter what it is, Unreal or Lumberyard or Unity or whatever. So, but the biggest thing with Unity is, so we started using Unity because at the time Unreal had a license we weren't happy with, in addition to a large, high six-figure dollar cost just to get started on it. So shortly after we started on Unity, we're 6 months into it and starting to get the first releases out to people, which is when Unreal switched their money model. So, hey, guess what? All you do is you pay us a percentage over this amount that you make. And by the way, you can have all the source code to the project.
Right.
If we had a time machine, that's where we would be, is probably on Unreal, just so we can have access to it. And that is the number one thing that I continue to harass Unity on constantly, is open up the source code. They gave us the source code briefly for a while, and we fixed crash bug after crash bug for them. We submitted 3 crash fixes that were crashing our game. But they have 2 problems. One is they don't open up the source code, the actual source code, because if you know how much of the C# stuff works in the mono and that type of stuff, we don't use any native code. We don't use any native code. So we shouldn't, there's not much we can do that will actually crash things. So when we see a crash in the game, it's almost always a Unity thing. And so a lot of this has come from their threading. They've started threading things. They didn't used to be multi-threads. Now they're working on threading things up. But there's a lot of non-thread safe things. They're doing a poor job of that. And the biggest other complaint is, if you want a bug fix, anytime we submit a bug, like, hey, we got like crashes all over the place. I gave them a list of 5,000 client crashes that all fall into about 5 or 6 categories. They wouldn't look at any of those things unless we could give a small test project to repro it. It will not actually, I've given them our whole project multiple times, but they will not open it or look at it. I even went so far as to take our entire project, import it into Unity, have everything together on one SSD drive, and handed them an SSD drive for them to look at the project. All you have to do is open the thing, and you can reproduce all this stuff, but they won't look at the project unless we can give them a small repro case. And of course, as you might expect with race conditions, with threading, and all the issues we're seeing, you can't reproduce it in a small test project. It takes a massive game like this with hundreds of thousands of assets and several million lines of code. Which also reminds me, there's some other things too. As I mentioned to someone that we were the largest project on Unity, to which they immediately challenged me on that of how would I know that. And I know that because for a while, if we wanted to add a line of code to the project, we first had to delete a line of code from the project because Unity had hard-coded some values, so we could no longer add code without deleting code. So
Wow.
there's no way a project could have been bigger than us.
Right.
So it's a lot of that type of stuff. We see a lot of hard-coded numbers where we crash the game, something bad happens, and it's purely, it's in Unity, we can't fix it, and they won't give us the code. And this is also the big thing I've argued with them about is they will give you the code for 6 figures per year, $100,000 per year, they'll give you code. And then they'll want more money from that if they're actually going to integrate your fixes back into the Unity pipeline. So to me, they're monetizing on their own incompetence of they can't fix their own bugs, they won't look at our problem, but for us to fix their problems for us, they're trying to charge us $100,000 a year. It's enough craziness that I've actually evaluated moving the episode 2 to Unreal, just so we can get away from that because they seem so stubborn and refuse to change some of those things. And I've worked with 2 or 3 different people over there, and they all kind of like, yeah, maybe we'll do it, maybe we'll do it, and then they never do it. So, and this has been going on for 4+ years. They've been almost on the edge, maybe we'll do it. So if there's any Unity guys out there, please change your process. Either open up the code to projects that are trying to help you make a better engine, or open source for everybody so we can start getting the community fixing some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they gave us their code briefly, and within a short amount of time, they charged us $10,000 to send an engineer with their code out to sit on site and work with us for 3 days, claiming that there were no crashes. And in the time he was there, we found 3 crashes in their code and submitted fixes, and they rolled them back into the engine for us. But again, it's that type of thing. I love Unity in a lot of ways. It's kind of one of those things. I love Unity, the engine. I hate Unity, the company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the things that you see that are outside of our control, one is the crashes. We wish we could find out what they were. We have, for every crash you see, there's 2 or 3 crashes we've identified ourselves and know what's causing it and have a workaround for it. Because they're pretty slow to integrate fixes, even when we are able to submit a small project for them, which we have done, a dozen or more times of submitting crash bugs with a small repro project.
Mm-hmm.
So for every crash you see, there's a bunch we've worked around their own crashes, and things like the memory footprint growing. This is one that lots of projects are seeing. In fact, I just watched Crowfall. They had a stream, I think last week that went out. They were talking about that they actually run their server on Unity, and that they were having a problem with their memory suddenly exploding until the server crashed. And that's kind of the same thing we see. We can go into the memory tools that Unity gives us. We can get a report on, here's all the things that we think or that you've allocated. And we look at that total, and it'll be 1.6 gigabytes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to go look in, in Windows Manager, and it's like, hey, look, my game is 8 gigabytes of RAM. But Unity doesn't give us any way to tell what's going on.
Yeah. My biggest, as a player, my biggest frustration is the FPS.
And that's the other one.
And I think, doesn't that come back to Unity not running multiple threads simultaneously?
Yes, and I think you're one of the ones who has like a 32 or 64 core CPU.
Yes.
That performs as well as a 4-core CPU.
Well, maybe.
Maybe
and like my Titan XP video card, 30% usage right now.
Yeah, and that's your CPU bound, and that is the number one CPU, or when we profile using Unity's tools, number one thing we come up with, and this is the same thing we use like external profiler, is it's basically the rendering thread is not very well threaded. Oh, hold on. Yeah, it says you're using a lot of CPU there. I'm guessing that's not for our game.
Oh, right. Well, see, I'm crunching. I'm broadcasting on the same machine to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and I'm doing moderate level of compression. I'd love to run 100% compression or at the max, but I have found that the CPU cannot transmit the video coding information fast enough, and it ends up with hiccups, even though I'm not maxing out the CPU.
Hold on. Star is trying to call in for stand-ups this morning. He keeps dialing in on this one.
Yes, well.
Should have been on time, Star. I was him trying to Skype in. I'm not sure if you guys could hear that after it had noise cancellation on it.
Yeah, we heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone else. Our stand-ups are at 10:15. I'm going to let somebody else run those, though.
So,
but yes, single-threaded, primarily in the render pipeline. That does pretty well on the GPU side, and really in whatever engine, it comes down more to shaders and making sure you're sending things in optimal ways. And they do a pretty good job of that in terms of sending, instancing and all the other different possible things, batching. But their problem is if you put several thousand objects in the scene, even if you have many of those things disabled, the pipeline for managing tens of thousands of objects in Unity, there's no threading in that. So when you have a city scene like this, even if we intelligently hide stuff, it ends up bogging down the CPU in a lot of ways. So we're continuing to work on different things. And of course, we could remove the things completely from the scene, but then we run into problems with that because you're paying the cost to add and remove things in their single-threaded world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little crazy. I finally just gave up,
I understand that it's, again, so many things we wish. And like I said, I actually even recently investigated switching to Unreal for episode 2, just as pulling our hair out of trying to get some of these Unity problems under control.
And what are the technical challenges of even considering something like that?
So the real challenge is we'd have a lot more design challenges of how to get there. So the plan would be, if we did do something like that, that we would keep a team on the Unity version of and then, by the way, this is, again, you're getting exclusive. I haven't mentioned this to anybody else outside of...
And everybody should understand that we're talking hypothetical here.
Yeah, don't lawyer me, bro.
Yeah. Chris is not making a promise here of doing anything. We are just talking about it.
I'm just ranting about my frustrations, my love-hate relationship with Unity. But yeah, so if we did that, it would be that you'd have the launcher just like it was before, but there'd be a launch episode 1, which would take you to the current version of Shroud of the Avatar. And then there would be a launch episode 2. And so episode 2 would be more, if we did that, it would turn into more of a transition like the old Ultima games, where every time you go into a new Ultima, you're traveling from Earth to whatever. It kind of be the same thing, where your character would go over. And this is giving you an idea of how much I've thought about this. I've thought through the whole process of what would be required, and put together a schedule and a budget for it as well. But you would remake your character, so your name would be reserved over there. Your character would come over. Anything you paid cash for would come over. Your experience would come over, but it would be more like experience memory. So every time you earn an experience point in the new one, you get an extra experience if you were in the old one. So you had 1 million in the old one. In the current Shroud of the Avatar, if you went to the new one and you earned 1 million experience points, you'd get 2 million experience points. So it's it would accelerate your process in the next one. But yeah, everything that you would have would move over. We'd move over all your housing and stuff like that, so you could place your housing in both of them.
How would you deal with like Unity assets in Unreal though?
So the Unity assets, well, one, that's something that we would almost certainly change. The people who are on the project now have never liked our art style that much, primarily because there isn't much of an art style. It is pretty much, can we get somewhat realistic, just keep being more and more realistic? How realistic can we get? Which is really, you get into that, we're nowhere near the uncanny valley type stuff, but it's really expensive to have that type of stuff. That's one of those things I'm jealous of many other games like Crowfall and some of the other games you play, where they actually have a real art style defined. So if we were ever going to do that, it would be, we would define a new there'd be a new art style. We bring over the assets and they'd be modified. Unity assets we have, they're all really FBX files if we bought them from Unity, but probably only maybe 20 or 30% of our assets came from the Unity store at this point. And the rest were made in-house, which we have the 3ds Max files and the FBX, and it'd be pretty easy to get the content over. It's just cleaning it up and keeping it to a higher standard. Because that would be the other thing that we kind of wanted to do with Unity, but we, after much experimentation and talking to a ton of different people, we knew it was impossible, which is actually doing an open world that was a large open world game that was standard third-person view, what we see here. So there's just too many problems with Unity. And again, some of this stuff were things back then when we started the project that were impossible. And then once we got into the scene-based world, it was just impossible to change out of that smoothly. So it gave us an option to get out of that as well, so we could actually do an open world game in something other than Unity. But Unity can actually do pretty well now.
Wouldn't a migration like this be in like the millions of dollars for a budget?
Yeah, that's why you don't see us jumping on it. The rough budget I put together for it was about $6 million. So it's, even if it were, we toyed around the idea of, do we do a Kickstarter for, not for episode 2, but for Unreal Switch? Again, I put a lot of thought into this, so I don't see us switching. I investigated a few options for it, but roughly $6 million is what I came up with when I put together a budget. And it would be about a 2-year process to do it, which would also delay episode 2 by 2 years, was another big killer.
Yeah. It's interesting because what you're talking about here would be fantastic, but also it's a very hard project to do.
Oh yes.
So, and I would love for the game to look better, and I think it would with Unreal, but actually compared to other Unity games as well. I mean, Shroud has a very good look. So it looks very nice compared to a lot of other Unity games. Stuff's very detailed.
Yeah, that's what you're paying for in terms of the CPU. Like I said, it's just, there's only so many things it can handle in its non-threaded pipeline. And that is one of the things in 2019 there's a number of new things that are coming that may improve things. They're coming up with some tiled rendering stuff. But again, I think they're addressing getting more polygons on the screen. Our problem has never been polygons on the screen. It's been more just the management of all the assets in the world. There's not a good system. You pretty much have to use Unity stuff, and there's just not a great system for controlling tens and hundreds of thousands of objects at once in the single world.
All of the objects here, that's really, would you say that that's driven by Richard? Because like he's the ultimate hoarder.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of those things. We have a lot of challenges in addition to that stuff. Like, obviously, I love working with Richard because I've been here with him for 6+ years, and I worked with him on Tag Rasa. And there's a lot of game companies in Austin I could work elsewhere for. So I love working with Richard, but it can be a little challenging as the tech guy for any Richard game.
I can totally see it.
Yeah, so I mean, some of it is just he's trying to get the reality modeling down, and you don't have reality with empty stuff. You also don't have things like, reality with lights that turn on and off. And the reality of, hey, the time of day has to change. So don't even think about baking any lights or doing anything that you could do to optimize things. Even to the point of, one of those early arguments that our previous art director had with Richard was, he wanted to build towns, but he wanted to be able to put in dummy buildings in there that had no interiors to them, which I was all for, of course, because then, spreading out the content actually improves performance. Getting stuff further away from you improves performance. Richard shot down the idea of having fake buildings that you couldn't go into. So, it's one of those things. You go into the game, any of the NPC towns, every building, you can open it up, you can go into it. without exception. Then they've all got like tons of decos and stuff in the game because that's how it works in reality. Is, you model reality, and reality has a lot of objects.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're continuing. There's some new Unity stuff coming out that I've had people pushing our way, but the problems we see won't be solved by many of the stuff they have going on, because it's really just a lot of the object modeling. So there's some other bigger things that we've got in our plan to do to improve performance. And really, if you go outside of any crowded city, performance on a good machine is, it's 60 most of the time. It's only when you come into these crowded scenes, and especially player-owned towns, where they can deco as much as they want to and add as many lights as they want to and arrange things however they want to. It's really only in these towns that performance gets down to 30 on a powerful machine.
Yeah, I noticed that I was testing it today, and I was sitting 29 or 30 in here. So, which, if you stay at 30 and above, that for most people is going to be just fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's frustrating, especially for guys with beefy machines like you, is you see 30 on your 32-core NVIDIA Titan machine. I see 30 on my quad-core with a AMD 570 card.
Something funny is that I get higher FPS on my laptop.
Yes.
At the same resolution, at the same quality settings.
Because it mostly comes down to what is the fastest single core on it, rather than how fast is your video card, how much is your total CPU processing.
So
one single 4 gigahertz core will run the game great.
So there are some, like the AMD CPUs, they'll have like the first 1 through 4 cores that'll be dedicated gaming, that'll be higher speeds than the rest. I hadn't even thought about that, because I don't know let's see, I'm running at 3.36 gigahertz, but all of my cores are spread equally. I guess I could, I think that I have another mode for my CPU where I can put it into a gaming mode, but then I might lose my ability to crunch. So, crunch video.
Yeah, but your frame rate, assuming you have even a modest video card, your frame rate in these big complicated scenes, again, primarily POTS, and to a lesser extent NPC counts, it's going to be directly proportional to the CPU speed of your fastest core. So even like a i3, overclocked like 4.5 gigahertz, it'll probably run the game better than your 32-core monster will.
Yeah. I didn't build it with games in mind.
Yeah, and Unity, again, they continue to work on things. And also, there's no... Unreal would probably have some issues, too, managing the same scene. The difference was they give us better tools for profiling and fixing our problems and coming up with our own systems to better implement things, whereas in Unity, a lot of that is pretty fixed. They have opened up their graphics pipeline, but still, that's not going to fix a lot of the object management problems we see, which is, again, our primary thing that we have a problem with right now. And only
Sorry, my web browser just rang. I had no idea. My phone rang at the same time. Apparently, I've got Google Voice turned on my computer. All right. Calamity averted. You still there?
I am still here.
Okay, good.
Just did a little catching up with the office stuff.
Yeah. So,
welcome to the Dragons.
What else is going on that I have not asked you about?
Let's see. So again, one of our big focuses has been on improving the quality of life. For whatever reason, we've kind of had our blinders on and ignoring some big problems with things. So there's been a bunch of stuff like looking at one of the big issues we had recently was rent prices on the larger houses was just insane. So as we were looking at it and talking to people about, like, you know, we can see there's a bunch of people who have like keep lots. They upgraded to a keep lot with in-game, which means it's taxable, but they weren't placing them. And then talking to them, it was like, oh, well, the taxes are crazy on it. There's no way I'm going to place that. So going and we just recently reduced the rent on taxed lots significantly. Another one that is, some of these I forget which ones have already gone in and which ones are going in, but also in pots, removing the requirement for you to come visit your house every now and then. Players will still be able to see how long it's been since you've been there, but why, you know, it's a player-owned town. If the governor wants you out, he'll kick you out. Why are we pointlessly evicting people out of player-owned towns due to idle? So we're removing some of that type stuff that was frustrating players. Let's see. Again, moving everything we can into game for crowns or gold, getting it away from the cash shop. In terms of skills and combat and those type things, we're continuing to polish lots of stuff, but my main focus has been on very small nudging balance type things, trying to get things more in line so that all play styles are fairly, well, closer to balance. I'm not going to say that they're fairly balanced at this point, but closer to balance. That's really what I shoot for, is just continuing to try to make things a little more balanced each release. For a while, I was the most hated guy on the team, one of the most liked and most hated guys on the team, because I was doing a lot of balance work, but I was really doing like taking a whole picture, looking at like what is wrong with this thing. Let me do my own testing, come up with the actual numbers, and I'd change whatever it was to be what I thought was the correct balance, whether up or down. And of course, that was resulting too much in kind of the pendulum effect of, you know, I make something more powerful, and it's like, whoops, I went a little too far, and I got to back it off. And anytime you, of course, the pendulum swings back towards the middle, you know, it swings away from being powerful to less powerful, everybody loses their mind. It pisses people off too much. So I've been very careful in terms of, even though I think some of these things should be moved more, like bludgeoned and some of the dex balance stuff I've been putting in, and some of the magic school and pet stuff, I'm trying to make them very small nudges so I don't have to end up backing off of the changes I've made. I just saw someone ask if I'm in God mode. I am now.
Oh, well, so someone just handed me some whiskey, and of course I drank it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it doesn't quite affect me in real life like this.
You're drinking the wrong whiskey.
Oh, well, I have good whiskey here. Yeah. This one is...
Yeah, so we've had that in there forever, but I think a lot of people turn off their visual effects in game, and it was blocking that out. I didn't even realize that stopped the drunk effect until I was like, wow, I'm shocked, because I added this belt. That's another thing I do, is I add various cool artifacts and things to the game, but I added a belt that gives you bonuses to strength, but also makes you permanently intoxicated. And I figured, like, you know, it's so annoying to have this effect that you're seeing right now. No one's ever going to wear this belt. I started looking, and like all the top players were wearing the belt that gives you this drunk effect for some extra strength. But after investigating, I found out that if you turn off your screen effects, you don't get the drunk effect. So that's all they're doing, is they're wearing this belt that gave great power, but then the one negative part of it, they're
able to just turn off.
Yeah, so now if you disable it, you don't get the benefits on the belt.
Oh, well, that's a good happy medium. Good solution. Yeah, I have not. That actually is the first alcohol I've drank since it's been introduced to the game. So.
And alcohol's been in the game for a long time. It's just players can make it. Now they can make it, so players are making some strong alcohol. And I see Himswy is biased. He's actually another guy that we've worked with. That's one of the big things we try to do, is be open with our community. He's one of the early guys who did some data mining on our public data server, which actually, if you Not sure if people are keeping up with it, but we just had to move data centers. Our previous data center was acquired. They were kicking us out. So we just moved into a new data center. And in that process, we took down the public data server so players can't mine that until we get it back up. But it should be going back up hopefully this Friday, maybe next week. And that is a server that tells you all sorts of stuff. Hence why I mentioned it, because he has a plugin and a Discord bot that does the so-and-so killed so-and-so in so-and-so.
Yeah.
And it keeps track of the scores and like keeps everybody's ranking. It's kind of an ELO system. It's not actually ELO.
We've done some of that on our website, but the information is a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, by popular demand, we've kept some of the information you guys really want in there, because a lot of people want us to put, like, I want to know every sale that happens in every place and how much gold, and I want to be able to map exactly. That's the type of stuff we haven't put in there just because it would be data mined by the wrong people and get too big of a benefit to some of those people who could data mine you how to use things like Elasticsearch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You, sir, rock.
So, does this public intoxication give me any other benefits?
I forget. I thought for a while it gave you extra strength and reduced your intelligence and dexterity. I forget if we...
Yeah, well, it gives me +5 intoxication level.
Oh, good. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's 7-year whiskey I took a shot of.
Only 7?
Well,
we're waiting for the 99-year whiskey. I forget when the first batch of that pops out. But
somebody in chat, let's see here, T-Branch, he says his 25-year whiskey will be ready in March.
Yeah. We put some long ones in there. Of course, that's 25 years in game time, so where one day equals 1 month, 1 Novian month.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost done being drunk here. And I can't dismiss it either.
Yeah, you can't dismiss it. If it's too annoying, we did put in, because there were some people who are like, I want to drink, but I can't because the effect makes me nauseous in real life. So again, you can't turn off the visual effects for it if you want to destroy all the fun in the game.
Now, I just thought I'd puke it up and maybe that would help, but nope. I'll try again here. Oh yeah, actually, puke should cut the time in half.
Oh, good call. I'll add that to my JIRA list.
Yeah, and then puke again, cut the time in half again, Oh, it's a little gross, but, Richard wants reality.
So I guess we gave you unique dragon heads?
Yeah, so this dragon mask that I'm wearing is unique to the show. Anybody who has one of them, it's only, they've won it on the show. You can't buy them anywhere or anything. And we do have one that we're giving away today, ! Giveaway in chat.
Nice.
We'll get you a link to that. And yeah, so we've had these for a while. And some people choose to sell them. They go for a lot of money. But
yeah, anything unique in the game.
I'm not sure how many are out there. I actually have a list. But it's not I don't know, 1 per show is what I've done. So
yeah, anything you can wear, and especially if it's unique, it's going to sell well. I've actually joked that if we put a limited edition dog poop decoration into the game, that players would go nuts over it just because it was limited. So,
well, actually, it should probably be horse dung, but
horse dung, dragon dung, we make it a big pile.
Oh yeah,
I'll add that to the store right away.
Yeah, with little gold flakes in it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it has the dragon version has a little bit of a glitter because they've been eating their gold.
Of course.
Yeah. So. Yeah, all these little things are what make the game pretty special. So.
Yeah, and I've been to this town. I haven't. The player-owned towns is one of those things that I really, really love and glad we did. but letting them lay out the towns, because that was one of those things we kept working internally after we started having player-owned towns, that we were going to have, we would determine where the lots were placed, and we would determine everything. Players kind of hated it, so.
Right.
Let's see if I can find a good scale for you.
This is a merchant town. So
yeah,
have to be a merchant in order to have a place here.
Here, I'll give you a size boost so you can see over the town and see the layout of the town.
All right.
60 seconds, we'll see. There you go. You should be able to see the whole town now.
Got to zoom out now. Oh, let's see. Let me step on you guys. Oh, goodness. Yeah, look at that. Can't zoom out very far, but
But you can see this person is, they've got an actual thought how they've laid out their town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does not increase your jump speed. This is one of those just for, I call it a party buff, where it increases the size and scale of your model, but does not change your actual collision shape or how high you jump or how fast you move or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Get a good screenshot of that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Mega Dragon. So, all right. Yeah. Somebody did this to me one day on the show, and I didn't know what they had done. And I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. It was a hit and run by a dev.
Yeah, it's one of those features that I snuck in that without telling anyone, including the other devs, at some point during one of the releases, that just because I wanted it for parties. I want to be a giant at a party. Who doesn't want to be giant at a party? Mm-hmm. Or small at a party? So,
yeah.
And then, of course, we started doing it at parties, and players were like, want to do it more. And then that's actually when I added some potions that are, again, crown shop items. They don't actually give you any benefits, but, it's cool to be big, even if you're actually small and just lifting.
Yeah, it's fun. So now we just need to be extra small so that we can sneak into places unseen. Oh, wait. Who's this little guy? Is he normally that small?
Maybe somebody used a shrink potion.
Oh, goodness. And headless infernal there.
Yeah, he may be using. There's also another thing I added to the game. It's actually when I added the player scaling stuff. They call it the creepy doll. That if you kill zombie children, kill enough of them, you'll find these creepy dolls. That if you hold one in your hand, it scales you down to your child size. You might have one of those, and you just can't see the creepy doll because he's got it because he's dancing.
Oh, he's got something in his hand. Yep. Look at that.
The creepy doll.
That's pretty interesting.
So, of course, that is, forget all the crazy powerful items in the game or super rare loot. The creepy doll for a while was the most in-demand object in the game because, again, players like role-playing. They like looking different.
I think he was just letting me look at it. He wasn't actually handing it to me.
And this, there it is. So this town is another example of quality of life stuff. One of the things came up recently that we're about to change. I'm not sure if we'll get it in this patch or if it'll be for the end of the month. But one of the things I noticed was when you look at a lot of towns, they're very much like this one, where it's nothing but 100 row lots, rather than there's no giant castles or keeps or anything, and it's all because the castles and keep everything takes up costs the player-owned town owner proportional to the square footage of it, and of course each level doubles in size. So by the time you get to a castle, you've given the player-owned town owner a choice. He has to choose either having one guy who lives in a castle or 32 guys who live in row lots. And no one cares about having the castle guy in the town. They want to have more people. So it's better for 32. So to combat that is, again, another quality of life type thing. We're going to be reducing the cost to place city and above lots in towns. So instead of costing 32 times as much, it might only cost 15 times as much to place a castle. So it's a little a little less painful of decision.
Oh, a bit of a scaling type
Yeah.
type thing, yeah. All right. Oh, and somebody else went and got a creepy doll.
And that's yet another one that is something we're going to do probably to spice up again one of our angel things, the Lord of the Isle that we currently have up. Is we will probably make that so if you place the lot in a town, it doesn't cost the town owner anything to place it. So you can add a Lord of the Isle, you can add a castle to any town without costing anything towards the total square footage.
Mm-hmm. That'll be good. All right. Well, I'm not sure that I have any more questions for you. I think we've learned a lot today.
Yeah, we, of course, for the hardcore fans out there, we do streams every single week that I'm on almost all those streams. So, and I'll occasionally do a ask me anything type thing where I'll just let people ask me any questions. So, I'm sure I've answered many of the questions for players. In terms of system stuff, again, we continue to add new skill polish, and we're going to be adding some new skills and spells coming up for episode 2. We've kind of had a crazy couple of months here with our server move stuff that took way more time than it should have. And also the holidays that we had. I think we're cursed right now. We've had a number of illnesses. I think I mentioned you in an email. Our normal CS person, who's also the guy in charge of shipping, injured his back and is basically stuck in bed for an unknown amount of time. So,
Awesome.
Then Richard has had bronchitis that people have seen in the stand-up notes. I'm just now getting over bronchitis. You've probably heard me cough a few times. But, yeah, we're having trouble keeping people alive at the office right now. Right? He's getting injured and sick and everything else, including me and Richard and Star. Let's see, I see a techie question. What kind of bandwidth does the game push? So right now, the previous place we were on 7 gigabit fiber, but we watched our data. That's one of the things we continue to keep our data rate per line low. So we were actually running more like our mean was about 20 megabits a second, not megabytes, but megabits. So the current place we're at, we actually budgeted for 100 megabit per second average, which is kind of the standard. So we really don't use that much data. The per user cost is not that much. There was a time when we sent a ton of data for stuff like just this situation, people standing around doing emos, just people standing around, we're sending a ton of data. Now we've got all that stuff optimized. So really, it's pretty low. I mean, again, we do it because it is big for you guys. It's important for, if you send 10 times as many packets and you lose one, you're 10 times as likely, to lose that packet, which can cause problems and cause backups on things. So keeping the packets down and only sending what you really need is important. So bandwidth is low.
Yeah. I do have a question here that came in about telezones, deleting unwanted zones. Not sure what that means.
Telezones.
Teleportation zones? I don't know. It's tele/zones.
Tele/zones. I mean, that brings up another thing that we're going to be adding shortly for dungeons is in the initial fiction stuff that I wrote up for the game, that was actually the Kickstarter, we had the idea that there'd be an underground network of dungeons so you could travel anywhere in the continent underground if you move your way around. So we didn't quite get all of that done. You can travel around quite a bit. That's actually what the Rise was originally created for, is it's kind of a hub for lots of different areas for travel. But we're going to be adding for the player created dungeons. They'll be able to add teleporters and connect to other player dungeons. So they'll be able to connect their town to another town through the dungeon. And there's going to be some restrictions on it. That'll be coming soon too. Just mentioned, I guess you mentioned the teleport zone stuff, is that's we're going to give players ways, which is important for guilds because they may have islands, towns on multiple sides of the island or on the continent.
So she clarified a little bit about using scrolls and deleting unwanted or blocking zones.
Oh, that, yes. So that's been one of those things that's come up. We didn't really even think about it as being a problem, but yeah, you learn areas, and we're still debating whether to make it so you can remove things or whether you can just flag your favorites. Because there may be a time someday that you want there, and really what people want is just a better way to sort it so they can see the scenes that they care about. Because yeah, they do pile up. And for those who don't know, we added a couple of releases ago teleport scrolls that once you go to a scene, you can use a teleport scroll to get back to that scene. It just pulls up a list of all the scenes that you've been to and acquired the scene. But yeah, we've got, I think there's roughly 400 scenes and towns in the game, 432 or something. So yeah, I totally see that piling up and having a list of 432 as being a problem and tough to manage.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Let's see. Another thing that's going to be coming up with that system, we added a little part of it, but we might get the rest of it done this release, is the ability to advertise events in that teleport list, which is, again, when you pull up the list of places you can teleport to, it'll give players, if you want to pay a crown, you can get your town at the top of the list, so anybody can teleport there. And the idea is that you can we're doing a dance party, here's the town, and then you can push it to the top of the list, so players can easily teleport to it even if they haven't been there before. But basically just the advertising your scene to other players so that they can get there easily.
Mm-hmm.
That'll probably be, it's on the schedule for this release. I'm not sure if Wizard Smoke's going to have time to do it because he's kind of the guy behind the 100-to-1 split for the crowns, or 1-to-100 split, I guess.
Right. How do you guys keep track of so many moving parts in the game? Because there's a lot to it now.
Yeah, it continues to grow. It's tough. I mean, part of the reason we can manage it is we have a pretty stable team in terms of turnover. That's just talking to somebody. I mentioned that because they were kind of asking the same thing, because we've got feature for feature. If you go down the list of the features, and a lot of them are a little rough still, but we've got as many features as almost any game out there. More than a lot of these games that have 100-person teams. Our team is about 12 people. Is what our current team is. We'll probably start staffing back up here in the not too distant future for episode 2. That'll primarily be the same thing we had before, where we expand our content team so we can create more content, which is what we shrunk right after we shipped. But the reason is, we've got really a solid core of about 10 people who have been with the company for 4+ years, 5+ years, and I've managed to keep a pretty stable group of guys together in terms of, especially on the tech side of things. In 5 years on the project, I've had one programmer quit the company. So that's, as I tell people internally, all I claim to do is be able to find smart people and keep them happy, and do not much else. So we've done that, and that helps us. So there's a lot of people here with a lot of knowledge, and even though we're a small team, we can manage a million moving parts because we all work super well together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and also, again, it's compared to any other company I've been at before, the talent level per person at the company is the highest I've been at, and I've been on some pretty talented teams. But then also not just talented, but some pretty passionate people, and also the majority of the people. I just had my 50th birthday not too long ago, and there's actually 3 people at the company older than me, even with only 10-person staff. So you're looking at the average person on the team is close to 20 years experience in the games industry, with at least 1 or more MMOs shipped for most of them.
Right.
We've got our art director, Damon, was on Star Wars Galaxies and was an old Origin guy before that. Has been around for a while, so. And the lead server programmer was with me on Tabula Rasa. And then a couple of the other programmers were with me at the previous company I worked at, where we were working directly with George Lucas on the Darth Maul game, which was supposed to be a secret, but I've seen it leaked to 100 different news sources. So now I just mention it at this point. For a while, that'd be super secret about, like, I can't tell you anything about it, but there's been like a ton of stories on it now. So.
Yeah, once it's out in the public. All right. Well, I think that's about it, buddy.
All right.
So thank you
Welcome
for
to the Dragons.
all the time you've spent with us today and really, bringing us up to speed, what's been going on and what's about to happen. And I like what I see. So keep up the good work.
Well, and I think I'm on the same page with you. The number one thing we need to do to improve the game is get performance up in all cases. It's pretty much the expectation these days that a good game is going to run at 60, and that is one of the goals we have. We've pushed off performance work just because, again, Unity is changing, and we keep expecting the next thing they're adding. That's the holy grail. That's the holy grail. And it just hasn't quite got there. One of the big ones that we just did that on was they added something called IL2CP, which compiles the C# code into C++ code and compiles native. And of course, we've been looking at as that's the holy grail. That's going to get us there. And we waited for 2 years for it, and then when they finally delivered it, it actually ran slower than the C# code. But again, I think we're going to start taking performance more seriously and just assume Unity's not going to fix our problems and start re-engineering a lot of their systems as best we can to get around their major bottlenecks.
Yeah.
So wish us luck.
Yeah.
And
that's what we want. We want the game to flow smoother.
Yep.
It's a great game. It's just there's that barrier for people.
Yep. And again, most adventure scenes will run fine, but then there's also still some hitching in those that's primarily in the particle system. That's one that we do have a plan to fix. It will get fixed probably in R64. Yep, the same complaints we've had with Unity for a long time, and we've got to figure out ways to deal with them and just assume they're not going to fix them for us. But I will keep harassing them to open up their source, let us have their source so we can start fixing some of their crash bugs.
All right. Well, thank you, buddy.
All right. Thanks for having me on the stream.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, then. So that was Chris Spears from Portalarium, and Atos is his dev name. And so there's been a lot happen, and I think that there's, I don't know, I've been playing some other games recently, and been so I took a little bit of a break from Shroud, and then I come back in, and I love the visuals and the fine detail that's in a lot of stuff now and everything. When you think of games that get highly complex and everything, like Eve comes to mind, and Eve has, just massive complexity. And so does Shroud here, actually. It's more behind the scenes than it is with, like, Eve. And so I'm just a fan, I guess. It's a good way to say it. I was hoping to get this one other thing to pop up, but it didn't. So, all right, I'm going to step away for a moment. In fact, I'm going to grab some lunch really quick, and then gonna go out adventuring a little bit, maybe taking a look at some people's dungeons and stuff like that, and just go out and have a good time. So, give me a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back. All right. Let me turn my music back on the game here. Because the music in this game is excellent. So that was good. He spent a lot more time with us than spent a lot more time with us than I expected. So I hate this song. This is the only song that I hate. Yeah, I just figured you just spent a little bit with us, but he spent like an hour and a half with us. So if you missed any of the interview or whatever, it's on YouTube, so you can see it there. Hope you don't mind if I eat something in front of you. So, all right. So, I'm excited about the player dungeons, and I see here that, accidentally changing my stuff here, hitting the wrong thing. I see here that there's a dungeon here. I have no idea. Prison cage dungeon entrance. No dungeon. Inter-dungeon, inter-sample dungeon. No dungeon. Oh. Okay, well, let's go find another. I'm sure there's some around, right? Only if I tell you what I'm eating? Right. So, just some rice and vegetables. Chicken. Also, a belladonna. The bot had a meltdown several months ago. So, any time before the meltdown was lost. So, if this is your first time seeing the game, this is Shroud of the Avatar. It's fully released. It's a great game. And I've played a bunch of it. Own houses in it. Stuff. Skill system is pretty amazing. It's the only place I've ever seen a skill system like they have. Falling Water Fortress has one that Taz has been building. What, I don't even know where Falling Water Fortress is. Seriously, it's been about 2 months since I played. So. My only complaint is frame rate. And it's interesting that he said that's directly related to CPU core speed. Lancel, you can get me there? Sure. I was just going into Crossroads here. See if there's any in town. Solution overclock cores 1 and 2. I think that there's actually I actually have the ability to manage my cores kind of that way in this CPU. And to mode it requires a reboot. But I can try it. I'm stuck on a loading screen. Oh, here we go. So we need to be on friends list. Lancel Lancermane. What, I just hit enter on this? Guess I added you. Guess you have to accept now too. So how can I look around and know where dungeons are? Player dungeons, or I just have to run through people's houses? Wonder if my wife's place is still down here. She has not played in quite some time. I guess it was further away. That little place. Decorated up all nice. Infernal, you got one? Hey, I think Lancel. Oh, there's Lancel. Yeah, we'll head out with Lancel first. Man, don't you get cold in that? I mean, hubba hubba. Female version of armor. In a video game. Hey Lancel, am I just following you, or have a gate there, or I don't know what we're doing. Oh, we can just teleport there. Alright, so wait for Lancel to say that she's there. I believe I have some teleport scrolls. Oh, I can just follow. Sure. Perfect. That's a free teleport. Is this game one that I recommend someone who just recently fell in love with P99. I have no idea what P99 is, but this game is good and it's free to play. The way we make money off it is if you need to buy Kodos or anything, you can get them from us, ! Coupon in chat. You can get a coupon code and get a link to our store. You can get Kodos from us. Save yourself a few bucks and support the show at the same time.
You, sir, rock.
Where are you getting this again? Oh yeah, it came up. It's coming up. I don't know, because you just hit 35 months and you were 34 before. I don't know. So, but 35 months is a sub. I guess as long as you have it, I'm handing out the gold, and so there we go. Yeah. Well, what happened was Twitch went to a cumulative system instead of concurrent, and so everybody's buttons lit up again, and then so if you like pressed it the day before your normal resub time, then they were only a day apart. EverQuest 1999 server. This is way better than EverQuest 1999. Way better. You will see a lot of influence in here that is similar to EverQuest. You would like this, Sashmo. There's a link to our store in the description, and you can buy the episode from us, or you can also just sign up for free with them. All right, I made it here. Falling Waters Fortress. Belladonna's here too. All right. That was the wrong thing, but okay. The music in here is pretty epic. I've not heard this song before. Must be something new added. Most of the music in here is player created, believe it or not. Like professional musicians who are fans of the game created a whole bunch of music for the game. There's so much fan contributed stuff in here. It's one of the really beautiful things about the game. Good thing we have a guide. Even though she is half naked. It's funny, Belladonna, the text you saying of "yes, I like it" has stayed above your head this whole time. I'm glad you really, really, really like it. Well, I can see why you were in your bathing suit. All this swimming. Yeah. Makes sense now. You never played EQ until 2 weeks ago and now you can't stop? Well, I guess you should just play that for a while if you're brand new into that. You know, get tired of it, come over here. Don't necessarily need to taint your experience over there. This is like a much upgraded version of EverQuest 1999 though. Like 20-year upgrade.
Welcome to the Dragons.
Biomex, thank you for following. Welcome. Belladonna still likes it. I don't know why those words are sticking above her head. It's kind of funny. Wow, look at this place. This is a player-built place. Alright, so that's the entrance to the dungeon. Oh, you got rid of it. You said lol and it went away. Alright. Yeah. And that was the grand tour. Something like that. Enter dungeon. Okay. I might be headed to my death, but it shall be for fame and glory. Is it dungeon wrong? Is it, did they try and recreate one of the old UO dungeons? Oh, no monsters yet. Does nobody have monsters yet? Or it's just that you don't have monsters yet? Can I look scary and rar in there? Will that work as a monster? By the way, that dragon mask you've been seeing me with, exclamation point giveaway in chat. Get you a link to our store. There's in the giveaway section. You have to be logged in at the store, but giveaway section. We will be giving away one of those masks today. You put that in your cart. You check out for free, and then we'll be drawing that near the end of the show. I have not. I fished a little bit this morning. I've not fished a whole lot since they made a bunch of changes. Last time I was in the game was when their first big change in a long time had come in, but I think they've done some more. And so it seriously, it's been 2 or 3 months since I actually played, sitting down and playing. I've been in the game since we, part of our business operates in the game, but as far as just playing, no, I haven't. So, I'll check that out today. I've got my fishing pole with me. Elabone, thank you for following. Welcome. And then we're probably going to, the show, what's the schedule for today? Yeah, I'm probably going to end the show an hour earlier than what the schedule said. We're buying a new car, and the car that I put money down on, we went to go pick it up yesterday and they sold it. Yes, we had money down on it too. So, which was kind of interesting, but they did. And so now we're looking again. I'm turning up the music so that we can hear this and appreciate it more. Holy cow, this place is like freaking epic. Oh, I love the shadows. Ah! get quite far enough back to... There we go. God, look at that. Isn't that freaking cool? And this music is freaking awesome. That is such an epic screenshot right there, folks. Some more down here. Holy cow, this music. How could anybody not love this game? Ellie Green, thank you for following. Welcome. And isn't this gorgeous? That other music was so epic. That's one thing that's that owners can choose music. Town owners. Would this be a good time to say that we actually have a full town for sale? It's in our store. They're not cheap, but we have one. And it's above ground. So it's not an underground city. It's not a sub. It is an overland town. It's in our store in the Trusted Trader section. Holy cow, this dungeon is just so awesome. I can't wait for there to be monsters in here. So what'd you guys think about the camera idea that I talked about? It was the idea that we should, dungeon owners should be able to voyeur people going through the dungeon and follow them through or something as they explore and battle things, and have it so that you can like live stream it. Because I could totally live stream shit like that while not doing other shows. I'd have to build a fantastic dungeon. Holy cow, this thing is huge. And folks, from what Atos... What? From what Atos was saying, there's no limits to the size of the dungeon based upon your property size. So you could have a little townhouse that has an amazing dungeon.
Welcome to the Dragons.
Oh, it just goes up again. Well, what was the other thing that goes down? Let's see. Run! Yeah, so we just brought that up on the show with Chris for Atos while I was here, and he likes the idea. We'll see if it happens. It'd be pretty cool, but I would be happy to build the shit out of a dungeon and then allow it to holy cow. And allow it to be live streamed as people go through and try and do it. And we'll make it so tough that the goal will be to make it so tough that the bottom rooms of it or whatever, nobody can beat them. This is amazing. This dungeon is absolutely amazing. And really, if they can build this, there's probably more that can be done. And once the monsters are in here, oh, let's see a map of the place I'm running through, okay? Let's see here. No map found currently. Yeah, I didn't think there would be. I suspect that it cost a lot of crowns to do this. Why do we have the death music right there?
Welcome to the Dragons.
Dammy Reaver, thank you for following. Welcome. Oh, man. I think that this shot that I saved is so epic. Isn't that cool? I mean, that's a great desktop wallpaper. It's just so cool. Speaking of cool, while we're here talking about things, have been working on the graphics for the show, and I have a very talented artist that's been working on it. All of the show funds are listed there, $700 plus more. All of that's going to go to the work being done. It's almost ready to start publishing it. And I've got this right here. I'm going to show you the first piece of artwork from this. This will be my new offline screen on Twitch. And that is, I did a photo shoot for this. And anyway, stuff's shaping up really nicely. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, that'll be my new offline screen. You guys who are subs are gonna love all the new emotes and everything. This is the death music. Do you know who wrote this music? This particular song right here is written by God, I had moonshine with him. I went to one of his concerts and we drank moonshine backstage with him. Waylon Jennings? Is it Waylon, or was Waylon Jennings his dad? Gosh. all of a sudden I can't remember. Shooter Jennings. Yes, Waylon Jennings is his dad. Shooter Jennings, he's a country star. And he wanted to contribute music to the game. And he wrote this death song. And he found to be very disappointed by it because people would die and they would resurrect before they heard the second half of the song. It's very long. So it's pretty cool that they added it to the soundtrack in this town right here. And I've turned the music volume way up because the music in this game is totally awesome. So, Dammy, thank you for the follow. Welcome. All right, so I'm, I don't know where to go, except Belladonna said she found fishing in here. So maybe I'm going to go towards her. What is this? Holy cow, look at this. Wow. Folks, the scenery in these dungeons is absolutely amazing. Yes, we can get lost. We are getting very lost. Oh my God, my favorite song. How do I skip this track? The first place we lived, this was the only song that was available. That was the only song that was available in our town, and it was something Lighthouse. And so this song, I went here already. I'm running towards Belladonna. Fetid water fishing. Ooh. Okay, I gotta find Belladonna. I gotta get to her. So it's a good song, but yes, when you've heard it over 1,000 times, want a trick? What kind of trick are you going to show me? Oh, do stuck? Yeah, you're not supposed to abuse that. I'll find her. Hey! Did it get an echo in here? Sewer water. It's brutal. Did it get an echo in here? You hear that? Oh my God. So I go into here. It sounds the same, but I go down in there, and do you hear the echoey like a cave? That is so wild. All right. Let's go fishing. Yeah, developers do take time to investigate stuck reports, so yeah, they've stated in the past that they will that that's really meant as last resort, so. Look at that, like even the stalagmites, it's dropping down on there. Is there a stalactite up there? Dropping down onto it? Yes, look at that. That is the kind of detail in this game. Last time I spoke to Queen Mum. If that question was me, is I don't know who Queen Mum is. You know, Elder Scrolls Online is moddable. No, I didn't know that, but I've never played Elder Scrolls Online. So, basically, LOA is similar to UO. Pathenon is similar to EQ. This is sort of similar to both, I guess. Well, this is the true spiritual successor to Ultima Online since it's made by Richard Garriott. But Legends of Aria does have more of that UO feeling than Shroud of the Avatar. It does, though, give you... There's a lot of Richard Garriott uniqueness in this game, for sure. A lot of really cool stuff. I caught anything? I caught a couple of salmon and a trout, but I'm not sure I want to, you know, eat them up out of this water. I don't have my PAX ring on, but I can put it on. I have it with me. I'm not even sure what my fishing skill is. I don't remember. Yeah, Atos has been on, but if you missed it, exclamation point YouTube and Twitch chat. It's on YouTube, and it'll the video become available shortly after the show is done. He had a lot to say. In fact, there's some stuff in here that's new announcements and everything that he said today. So, yeah, you may want to check it out. The music in here is so awesome. So here's my skill tree. The fishing is 86. What? There's new fishing stuff? What? Oh my god. I gotta go learn these things. I didn't even know they were in here. I have no skill in this other stuff. Yes, I do know that there's lava fishing. I thought that's a little bit peculiar, but, you know. Is this music epic? This stuff is all original in this game. Alright, caught nothing. Time to maybe head up. Well, one more cast. We'll go looking around, see if we can find our way out of here. Cleo, you have the biggest fish in the game. Hit the crafting trainer. Yeah, I will. .2 is the biggest fish. And these are not rare fish. Okay, I'm gonna keep running out of here and see where this goes. Spot back there. Dragons like a good hot bath. I feel like I should get my mining pick out. Uh-oh. I didn't see any other ways out of here, and we've come to a dead end. And I wasn't able to get up on the other side. Maybe I'll have to do a run and jump off that little island. I made it. Right? This may not be the right way. This? Well, that's really cool. Yeah, this looks like an awesome fishing spot. Got a trout. Okay. Well, there's Belladonna. This water looks a little cleaner. Caught nothing. All right, I gotta cast one more time. Belladonna got a sharp-toothed catfish. When I caught a trout. Belladonna got a salmon. I'm still fishing. I'm still waiting for a bite. Did I see that right, Falcon's Lantern? You have 216 Grandmasters. I have no idea where I'm going. Okay, well, we'll continue going up. Anytime we have the choice to go up, we'll go up. Once this is populated with monsters and stuff, this is going to be amazing. Holy cow. Wow. Look at this room. It's pretty awesome. This is like a dungeon throne room that we just found. This isn't the fishing place we were just at, is it? Or is it just another one? No choice but to go this way. This place is enormous. When the monsters are in here, it's going to be pretty awesome. Oh, another throne room. This one's a little bit big for me. I was gonna say, maybe I need to recall home, but you know what? I packed up my property. I just wasn't playing very much, so I packed it up. Well, the new dungeon stuff, it's going to be pretty epic, I think. This is the bare bones of it, the start of it. I don't know if going down that right is the right way, but this thing is enormous. Ah, made it here. Let's catch a cart. It'll come by in a minute, won't it? Yeah, here it comes. Let's see if we can hop on. Sorry about snuggling up a little bit close there, Lancel. Hope you don't mind. Belladonna found more water. All right. Okay. So that dungeon's gonna be pretty awesome. Yep. I drank all of my drink. Step away for just a moment. Be right back. Grab another one.
the
Alright, so this is still
dragons.
loading. Gorg, thank you for following. Welcome. So, wow. I mean, just a couple months away from the game and so much new stuff. That's really awesome. Yeah. I'm really impressed. The dungeons, I had just seen the first glimpse of them, and I knew that they were going to be, you know, a little bit something new. But I didn't know that they were going to be like that big, that grand, that beautiful looking. So, yeah, pretty epic. So, I don't even know where in the world I am. I guess I'll go out onto the overland and see where I'm at. I want to go find the fishing stuff. It shouldn't be too hard to get to overland. And go out this way. Oh, there's a Coliseum. Gosh, let's go look at that real quick. We have one of these for sale in our store. Though I think we're probably going to need to lower the price on it because I saw it for sale for Kodos. We're an authorized reseller of stuff for the game, both new and previously owned. There's a secret room in these. Look at that shark. Fish length 4.5. So somebody else in chat, Cleo, said he had 7.2 or something like that. That is that's a pretty nice fish trophy. Now there's this right here. Check out that cat. I don't know if I've ever seen one of those. That's a fat stray cat. You know, they named something in the game after my cat. My cat I named after Iolo, which was a friend of the Avatar. They haven't done anything down here. And then mysteriously, after I told about that on the show one day, mysteriously added to the game without anybody mentioning anything or whatnot was Iolo's catgut stew. I asked my cat how she felt about that. Her answer was a little ambiguous. Folks, would you not agree that the improvements in the last few months have been just amazing? Now I want to do like Minecraft and just have tracks in all of the rooms and have a minecart that just goes forever. the song is okay. This is almost along the lines of Elat's Lighthouse song. My load screens seem to take a long time. I don't know why. I've got this on an SSD and everything. Actually, that's most of my primary drives are all SSD in here now. All right, so we are giving away a Marquee Dragon mask today. Like you see here on my guide, kind of hard to see. I'll turn down the music just a little bit. And so, let's see where on the map we are. Exclamation point. Oh, Lancel, you'll get me to Brit? Sure. I guess so. Spindrift Bay. Oh, you can't open a... Can't open a gate out here, can you? I don't know how to... It's funny because, you know, I play a bunch of different games, and so sometimes I forget how to do it. How to do stuff. Anyway, you can get in on the Dragon Mask. The only way to get one of these masks like what I'm wearing is to win one here on the show. You can't get one any other way. We don't sell them or anything. And if you find one in game for sale, it will be from somebody who is it'll be from somebody who, you know, won one and decided for whatever reason they would rather have the money and they have one for sale. Wow, this all looks different. Yeah, here's Brit. All right. Town, let's go to the docks. All right. And so I don't know how much they're going for, but I've seen them 1 million, 2 million gold. And if you win one, if you win this today, we will be trying to remember how we do this. It's been a little while since. Let me ask. It's a special process that we use only for these masks. So I gotta let's remember what I have to do. I think we might have to have... No, actually, I think we just email you a link. I don't remember. I asked Dan to look it up. I don't know, some of the things have been quicker load times, but I don't know that it's quicker for me. Dan's feeding me information that's not true. Oh. Yours was by email? Yeah, I know email is a component to it. I think we just gift it to an email address. All right. That's what we do. Yeah, so since we use a new system for giveaways, it used to be that I sent you a passphrase and you had to email in and then we sent it to your email. But now, since all the entries take place on our store, we're just going to use the email that you placed the entry on. And here's the thing right here, which would be whatever account you logged in with. And so we're just gonna tell you that you won, and then you're gonna get a separate email from Portalarium that will have a link to claim the item on your account. It'll then appear in your bank account, and you can claim it. So, all right. Let's see, crafting trainer. Hello, sir. Please train my skills. Oh, yes, fishing. Mm-hmm. Yes. Freshwater fishing. Learn. Fetid water fishing. Learn. Saltwater fishing. Learn. All right, and this requires level 80 on all three of these before I can do that. All right. So it looks like I have a lot of new fishing stuff to do. This is awesome. Fishing is one of the things that I enjoy the most. So, yeah. So that's when we pick a winner. We'll announce who the winner is, and we'll read off whatever message was put in. And we'll do that here in about 15 minutes or so. And then I shortened the show just a little bit today because, folks, even if you put money down on a car to buy it, they may in fact sell it anyway to someone else. That happened to us. So I gotta go get my money back that I put down on this car, and then go look at other ones. Which, if you've ever bought a car before, you know how much fun that is. We'd be like, let's go and see if I can get some fishing skill right off the bat. What is, let's see, skills. I have 200,000 pooled experience here. That's not very much, but it's some. And there's bubbles. Central Brittany is good for saltwater fishing. All right. All right, so level 2 already on saltwater fishing, of course. And I don't know what, let's see, caught a trout. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the show here, for those of you watching on Twitch, I'll play the Play Money trailer. Shroud of the Avatar is in the Play Money film. You see Richard Garriott in there. You see me in there. And some of you who are here watching right now maybe even played with us whenever we recorded some footage for the film. I don't remember who all was there. I had it written down. I've still got it written down someplace. I tried to get them to put your guys' character names in the credits, but they were really formal about it. So they didn't put the character names in the film credits. I tried, but you know. So Levon, you were here? Yeah, so Levon, have you seen the film yet? And Thor? So the film, !Play Money, the film is available in both United States and UK. So it'll be coming to more locations later. That's where it's at the moment. You can rent it or buy it. It took us 10 years to film it. Basically a 8-year story. Alright, one more cast and then we'll head over to hometown, and then I gotta set up my recall bindstone. Wait, I didn't catch anything really fabulous. Alright, let's see here. Novia. Alright. A few minutes. We're going to be drawing for the dragon mask. And then I'm going to be taking off looking at cars. Tomorrow we're going to be doing Eve. We're going to continue with the wormhole stuff. The wormhole stuff being actually wormholing in a C3 and a Nestor. So, pretty cool ship. Good luck on the car. I know, you know what? The problem is it takes hours. You know? Even if I have cash in hand, it takes hours. It's going to take a couple days to buy a car. So, we're buying a car where I'll probably put 50% down. And then we'll finance the other 50%. But the other 50%, we're going to finance it through a bank I do business with, that credit union that gives me a really good rate. And so it all takes time. Dirk got your last car without you being there? Yeah. Well, as long as you like it and approved of it, right? Is it just me, or are these load times long? Yeah, I think we're picking up a Honda Pilot. Smaller SUV, but it has enough seats. So my dad moved in with us. And we can't all go someplace at the same time because we are one short. I'm slow for some reason. They're fast for you. Yeah, you guys are seeing how long these are taking me, right? And I've got this installed on an SSD even. And of course I have plenty of memory. I have, what? I have 64 gigs of RAM. I'm using fucking 40 gigs of RAM right now? What? Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at my memory. 40 gigs. Shroud of the Avatar. What? Holy cow, there's no memory leak there. It's only using 26 gigs. Holy cow. Good thing I have more. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a record. That's the most I've seen. I've never seen that before. I bet you it's from the new dungeons because they fixed a lot of those memory leaks. I bet you the new dungeons, since there's still, oh, yes. Falcon has so many Grandmasters that he crashed my client. Yeah, it's, that's a little insane. Oh my God, it's gone up even more. I really think I'm crashing. Holy cow. 32 gigs now. What the hell? Okay. I don't know, I might really be crashing. Oh, maybe I really am. Oh, it's great time to do a drawing. All right, we're doing the drawing. We've had a couple of final calls. We're doing a drawing for one of the dragon masks. And so, here's what's going to happen. Oh, now it's working again. Okay, let me examine him. Does it show, like, all the Grandmasters? He says he has 200 and some odd Grandmasters. Which is absolutely incredible. I don't know how to look at it even more. But it's got some of that pretty gold armor. That's as close in as I can get. Oh, it's having problems again. Yeah, I'd have to restart my client. It's up to 35 gigs of memory for Shroud. Okay. Yeah, it's obviously having issues. So, all right, everybody should have had their entries in. And so I will, let's see here. I think I need to write up a new thing here for this giveaway. Okay, so the winner will receive an email from us. Basically, I'm just going to be emailing the winner saying, you won the mask. Look for an email from Portalarium to claim it. And so, this person did not put in a... Oh, and then you'll receive an email in a little bit that it'll have it. Holy shit. Guys, my memory is out of control. 44 gigs now used by Shroud. Yeah, I might crash my whole machine here in a minute. All right. So, I'm going to read off the person's first name and last initial because I didn't put in a name in the message area. And so congratulations to Chris C, who says woot. And so I'm going to write you right now. Let's see here. Okay. So, all right. There we go. And JJ, I moved it to the inbox if you want to do your magic. We're up to 48 gigs used for the game. So, and so all right, he's confirmed that he's working on sending the mask to the winner. And all right, so guys, I'm really excited about some of the stuff I'm seeing here in Shroud, and so it's pretty cool what I'm seeing. I'm gonna move to more humble, a humble way of life with the game. I'm not going to set up a giant, huge house again and everything. I'm probably going to actually just live upstairs in the shop. And then I do plan on that we are going to build a dungeon. And so we'll do some work on that. If Chris, he likes the idea of having the voyeurism in the dungeon so we can live stream the dungeon, like while I'm AFK. I don't know why my browser all of a sudden has decided to try and answer my phone. Bastards. So if they put in what we... I love this. This is the Google call stuff. And you can see here that it's typing out this bot message that they're sending me. And so I can choose to not answer it. And basically they're saying that, they're trying to scare me into giving them information or whatever. So, yeah, isn't that great? If you have a Google phone, that Google call screen is awesome. So, yeah, that was definitely a scam. So, all right. So it's kind of a fail on the memory here and everything. So we are done with the game. All right, those of you on YouTube, that's it. Those of you on Twitch, hang on just a second. I want to show you the Play Money trailer. And then we'll be out of here. And tomorrow's going to be Eve. And I'm going to put Shroud on the schedule. We're going to start building some stuff and everything. And, yeah, have a good time with it. So, okay, everybody on YouTube, thanks for hanging today. We'll see you tomorrow.